Hi, so in this video we're going to talk about basic enumeration on a Linux server. And when I say basic enumeration, I basically mean enumeration that's gonna give you the edge of actually hacking the machine. So basic enumeration, let's give it a go. So I booted up a machine here on Proving Grounds. It's something called Gara or Jara, whatever I'm gonna say it. So we're gonna take the IP address, basically just like that. And the basic enumeration goes with you put the IP address into the browser. It's the first step you do. I would definitely do that always. This is gonna get you a picture. When you see stuff like this, you will think steganography, right? So you're gonna think, okay, so there's a chance that there is a user called Jara, so you have to type down the username G-A-R-I. So let me just say possible usernames could be G-A-R-I, just to get it started like that. And you also see some sort of IP address down here, so that could be username, but I think not. But next, what I will go ahead and do is just to via the source, you also see the name of the page and the name of the picture is that. So if you want to take the picture, go to a console, just clear screen, you get the picture without this view source, and try stick height. I think it's what is it? Stack height and something with extracting it or something like that. So it's stack height extract. Is it like done? No, it's SF. So okay. So there's something with the passphrase. There's a good chance that there is something to this. And this is the first thing you're gonna do. So there might be something to this image right here. Really don't know, but we have it. So save the console, have it open. You're gonna look for a password, so you can go in and say, okay, so jara.jpg, possible stack, need password. So that's the thing you could do now. So that's a part of some of the basic enumeration part. You can also go ahead and just take the page, press F12 on your computer, zoom in on this, and press F5 to update it all. Look at storage, just look what you can get. Pay attention to the kind of enumeration doing right now is web enumeration. So this is what this machine had. So this is my initial approach. Also go ahead and check the network. Always check the root here and see any response headers from the server, and you see the basic things like Apache. It's a Debian server. Okay, the version of Apache could be interesting, so you basically take note of that. So if you were, for example, to check if there's any vulnerabilities with this particular version, take them and basically just go ahead, Google and type exploits for the particular version here. It does say something about in between those two, so something below 3438. There's something here mentioning something about the version. I'm not really sure it's anything. It does say there's a bug in the mod SSL when they're using per location client certification. Might be, but I don't really think in this particular case that this is the actual exploit. But definitely something you would need to, if I were to give security advice to the company using this version, I would probably just say update the version. And that would probably fix it. I will not really do much more from the web page. So that is part of the standard enumeration that we do on a web page. Now, this is of course a non-HTTPS site, so I would definitely not think too much about this right now because it's a intentional vulnerable machine. But if it wasn't, I'll definitely go and take a look at the certificate and where it is in this browser. definitely go and check out the certificate. Sometimes in the certificate there would be, of course, no certificate because of HTTP. Then there would be a mention of other domains sometimes, which could be also a part of that. So now I have different choice. You can go down different roads now. You know, don't think that real companies try fancy nerd tricks. This is just the machine, right? So no companies use steganography on images for fun to irritate the users. They don't, okay? So the road I would definitely go down now is to take the IP address, just like that. And then you're gonna go ahead and start up a new tab here, you know, just a standard, you know, shell, and run nmap. In most occasions, I would just run it like this, you know, without any mentions, you know, just to get a quick ping back for the most common 1,000 used ports. And I do see there's a port 22 and there's a port 80. You can also go ahead and suggest do all port scan, and pay attention to that I'm not doing any, you know, flags and nmap, which I typically will do when I do a machine for my channel here. But this is far the fastest because you're only going to detect if it's open or not. If there's a firewall behind it, it could show up closed or filtered, but in this particular case there is no firewall, at least not what I can see. So the two ports that are open are those, and now I'll definitely go and add on the standard scripts and standard version. So I mean, the version script and the to determine which kind of version it is, and also another script to determine which kind of if there's any standard vulnerabilities. That's the next thing I would probably do. Still not poking directly to the machine with my own hands. I'm letting a tool do it. So what you're gonna see here is some title and stuff, and also some SSH version. Version looks okay. You could you know, search for it. I'm still a bit about the Apache HTTP, but it doesn't seem we have anything going on really on that page. So now that we have this information, we kind of stuck. We feel we're stuck. So what I would do now is I'm going to go ahead and take the IP address and open a new tab. Then I would go ahead and run my favorite tool, GoBuster, and put in the IP address just like that with the HTTP. And then run it and see if it finds something crazy for me. Now this is a room you need to hack. So it basically teaches you enumeration on a real web page in the industry. People not gonna hide, you know, well, I have seen it, but not intentionally thinking that this might be a good directory, but I guess some might do it. But I would just say by principle, companies in general will not do any fancy nerd tricks to hide folders and stuff. So this is just running, and typically when you're doing this for a hacking room, intentionally vulnerable, if it's an easy room, I would definitely go up to 10%. If it's a medium room, I would leave it running for around 30%. If it's a hard room or insane, I would definitely just leave it running for all the time, because it could be where you're gonna leave it. Okay, so another thing you could also do is to scan for subdomains, and you could basically use the same, you know, GoBuster. You can go ahead and just type GoBuster, and you can see you can run for DNS Subdomain Enumeration mode. You can also use the vhost, but you know, we can go GoBuster just like that. Whoops. And then do DNS. Whoops. And then one more time, just paste in the IP. Let's take the IP one more time. So there we go. And then you basically just press. What did I do wrong? GoBuster unknown flag U. Let me just look it up, and this is also, don't be afraid to look up DNS. Maybe there is something that I forgot. Let me see. DNS Mode D for domain, the target domain. Okay, so it's D. Yeah, it's just a tag D instead. I totally don't remember that. So let me just do tag D, and then it's gonna, if I did it right, so we'll see yes. Tag I is for show IP addresses. That's gonna be fine. We don't need that. We're just gonna run it just like that. I know it wants a domain. We don't have a domain name. Also sometimes when you when you check for alright, so we don't really have anything here, so I would definitely just shut it down and say what we have so far is SSH. Possibilities is brute force, right? We also have an image, and I'm pretty sure this is just a nerd trick, so they probably just hidden the password for the user Jira on inside this image as a steganography thing. Alright, so if at this point it's a bit stuck, let's assume that you are where I am now. You're thinking, but I tried everything, what could you do? What could you change? Well, you could go back and want to say that the different kind of word list here is just the different kind of word list we got from this Dear Buster word list. I think I have a list here some other place. There's also so there's also something called seklist. Have I installed that? I did. And inside that in discovery, I think it is. Let me just see if I have a list somewhere. Yes, I do. Discovery and then web content. You can also find another word list. So the word list you're using for brute force in the directory is only that good as the word list is. And there is a particular one for directory lists 2-3 big. You can try that. And the big one is it's a different one from the seklist version. You need to download seklist. That's just going to Google and type seklist and gonna get it. This is one way for you to get your way through. Depending on what you look for, it could be inside this word list, or it could not be inside the word list. That's the thing. So we don't really know, but there's a slight chance that we will get it, but you never know with these kind of brute forcing directories. And I kind of think, I have a hunch because of the room that we need to access something like WordPress or whatever there is. If it was WordPress, it definitely would have popped up on the Medium one that I showed before. So I'm pretty sure in this particular case it's probably a atypical name, and maybe it's in the big directory list. Commonly, I can't remember I ever used this one, but definitely be aware of different kind of ways to brute force your way through. Just for the sake of this video, I just looked up if there's anything special you need to look for, and actually there is. So I just want to say that without spoiling this room, sometimes you need to let it run, basically for ages. I don't know exactly when it's gonna pop up. If it pops up in this search, it's gonna be fine. But as you can see, it's going relatively slow. If you look at the different kind of entries you're gonna go through, But this is really, what you can do at the current state. You could go ahead and try stuff like, Hydra, SSH, and then just, we could just copy paste the command anywhere where it was, like this one there, and go to document and say we have an idea that there is a user, small l, called Jira, and the password there, and we need to fetch the IP address. Let's put it in right there, and basically just say that what we're gonna try and do is just to take, and brute force our way through. This is of course a bit, you're already now trying to exploit something, and this is not reconnaissance anymore. This is what people commonly mistake, say like, so now we're gonna do like, let me just start it. It's difficult to talk sometimes while you're talking. So while you're just doing a, let's say, password discovery, is it the same as doing GoBuster? But well, I guess you could say it. What is wrong for this method? Algo, this and that. What? Could not connect to SSH 22. What is wrong? That's kind of weird. Let's just try out the threads. But this is something you could do and try. I'm not sure why it didn't want to do that. That's kind of weird. And I would say already when you're trying to brute force your way through, you are a step ahead of, enumeration. So enumeration from this from now on is heavily based on getting the versions of software you can find. You already did some things. You could try and see if there were some kernel issues, but you probably would need access to that. Since we have these two ports open, which is very common for a standard web server in production. We actually forgot something. We forgot to do robots.txt. I don't know why I didn't think about that. There were none. Robots.txt, basically the file you're gonna look for. That's going to contain the different kind of disallowance for entries for search engines. You can also go ahead and try stuff like panel, and admin, whatever they administrate, or whatever they're gonna there are many different things you can do. Also test and like this ASD. There are many different things developers do these days. And I think that, in all honesty, that we're gonna find what we need in the directory scan, and it kind of shows. What I kind of want to just try is to say, if I take this and that, and we do a not medium but small, we'll actually find it by the small one. And sometimes, just running through, this is also tips and tricks, by the way, so I'm just reflecting as much as I can, so you kind of get the edge. Because what I also see is that people sometimes they just run the normal, what they did all the time. You did the GoBuster many times, you never thought about changing it. But doing a standard GoBuster and trying different kind of directory, brute forcing methods is, well, I wouldn't call it a method, but different approaches, then maybe that's gonna give you the edge and you will find what you need. This is what I'm trying to talk about right now, actually. So yeah. Alright. So I think for this video I'm gonna end up saying that you will find the directory if you use the medium list. And in this particular case, it just takes some time, I think 5 to 10 minutes. And the directory you're gonna find is another one, and then you're gonna basically continue. Let's assume the directory is called test. Then the next step would be to basically, go ahead and say, what can I find from test? Just like that. I know it sounds boring, but this is the way to go. So, basic web enumeration with no web page. Well, there was a web page, just very simple. If there was a bigger web page, something you can interact with, then basically you have to look through links, look for sitemaps, look for login stuff, look for robust text, look for many different directories and stuff like that. Look for mechanisms. Basically, look for input on the website. That's gonna show you where to take a step in, or where you can actually try and punch your way through. So I guess short introduction video to web enumeration without a particular website. See you again online.